If there's a point of no return, do you want me to tell you? Yeah, I would love that. I would love for you to tell me. My assumption was the game would have told me anyway, but like, you know. Oh, did you kill him? Good work. What the shit? Oh, sorry, pal.
It sure is quiet here.
Such silence bodes ill. There's trouble on the way. I'm certain of it.
We'll just do a little save
So
there.
a little optimism now and then wouldn't hurt, Weiss.
Such cheek.
The hell is this?
Beware. Beware. The words.
The words? What do you mean?
Contagious words. Those who dream.
Dude, do you live in a treehouse?
Those who dream?
Hold a moment. There is a strange new sensation in my mind. It is not quizzical.
What?
What's going on?
What? What is happening right now? The villager's body shuddered as he slowly opened his
Perhaps we
eyes.
should start by asking this man.
Who are you?
We heard something happened to this village, so we came to see if we could help.
The mayor stared at Jesse Cox and Weiss.
If you can speak to me, I must have caught you in my dream.
In your dream?
The mayor explained. In the past weeks, a mysterious disease called the Death Dream has spread across the forest of myth. Those caught in the curse were cursed to fall asleep and live forever within the world of their own dreams. Village mayor determined the Death Dream was spread from person to person by spoken words. But before he could learn more, the disease took him as well. What the shit? Weiss stared at the mayor, his mouth twitching slightly.
Now see here.
He
Are
said.
you saying that we have been absorbed into your dream?
Well,
The mayor said. The mayor
I think you have.
In other words,
said Jesse
we
Cox.
caught the death dream?
Before the mayor could confirm Jesse Cox's suspicion, Weiss exploded with rage.
Ridiculous. Preposterous. Completely unfathomable on every conceivable level. I don't even recall falling asleep.
That's just how the death dream works.
Though polite, the mayor was clearly trying to brush aside the book's remarks.
My remarks are not to be brushed aside, fool.
The mayor twisted his mouth into an embarrassed grimace, then quickly changed the subject to Jesse Cox's scene and what they had discussed since coming to the village.
Something there must have caused you to enter my dream.
Said the
A
mayor.
certain conversation, a specific word, something.
What is happening? Jesse Cox and Weiss racked their brains, but could find no easy solutions. There were simply too many words to consider, too many random chatter, too many meaningless conversations.
Grimoire Weiss does not engage in meaningless conversations.
The mere suggestion that Weiss chose his words carelessly seemed to sting his pride.
It does not seem to sting my pride, you bloated gasbag of a narrator. It has demolished it utterly.
Irritated, Weiss looked skyward, as if searching for answers in the heavens.
I was doing no such thing. Just leave me alone already.
The anger created by his harsh words bled over to Jesse Cox, like a contagion. Now it's pitch black. Wait, said Jesse Cox suddenly. Did someone just say contagion? Yes, I believe so. What of it? Well, the villager told us to watch out for contagious words, right? The mayor leaned forward in renewed interest, pushing a startled Weiss aside in the process. He must have said something, right? Asked the mayor. Some specific combination of words? What was it? It was about dreaming, or something that dreams, or... Oh, what the hell is it? A sheep, cried Weiss suddenly, blurting out the first thing that popped into his head. The others stared at him for a moment before slowly shaking their heads. After a few more moments of thought, Jesse Cox's face suddenly lit up. I remember, he said. Those who dream. That's what he said, I'm sure of it. At this, the mayor produced a thick sheaf of papers from his pocket. He flipped through them a few times before finally nodding his approval to Jesse Cox. That sounds right, he said, as a stray sheet of paper fluttered to the ground. My notes also mentioned something about that. I bet it was the last thing you heard before you fell asleep. The mayor shook his head, worn pencil stub tracing lines across the lone piece of paper. The last month, I've done nothing but study the disease we call death dream, he said. I mean, I'm the mayor, right? It's my job to protect people from whatever comes along, but I never expected a couple outsiders to start entering people's dreams. The mayor paused, a grimace crossing his face. I should probably take note of something. Weiss immediately fired back. I am blood the force of a research of the seasonal dreams, he said. But perhaps we will blend your efforts of escaping the place instead of trying to understand that. The mayor hand tightened around the pencil, snapping off the tip. I've tried to escape. From the very moment I realized I was locked in my own dream. I've been looking for a way out, but I don't think it exists. I mean, this is my dream, right? If there was an exit, I'd know about it. He paused for a moment, unfocused eyes staring at nothing. My village is beautiful, he said, to no one in particular, and it was filled with the most wonderful people you could ever hope to meet. But once the disease took hold, things changed. It's like someone took a sponge and soaked all the color out of our lives. I just want to be whole again. I want us to be free, and I won't stop trying until it happens. Jesse Cox nodded in agreement. Huh? Wait a second. I didn't nod. Look, if we can be any help, said Jesse Cox, just ask. Now hold on. I did not just say that. Silence, cried Weiss. Grimoire looked from Jesse Cox to the mayor and back again, his face filled with confidence. Grimoire Weiss's face is always confident, thank you very much. Now see here, Mayor. You told us that nothing can exist in the dream without you knowing it. But yet you seem surprised to see us when we first arrived, yes? The mayor slowly raised his head, realization dawning on his face. Oh my god, he said. You're right. You're right. I had no idea you were coming. The human imagination is... wait. The human imagination is limitless engine, said Weiss, and dreams are the fuel. If you can imagine an exit, then it must be there. With your permission, we shall search it out. Thank you, said the mayor. I don't know how I can repay you. Payment is not required. We are as eager as you to be done with this place. The mayor suddenly felt as if he could breathe again. He'd almost forgotten what it was like. Good luck, you two, he called at the departing forms of Jesse Cox and Weiss. We're all counting on you. As Jesse Cox slowly faded in the misty forest, the mayor was struck by a sense of deja vu. I saw this man once before, he thought, but where? Jesse Cox's mood darkened as he trudged through the forest. Hours earlier, when the beauty of the place was still a new thing, he had been confident they could get in, find the exit, and be home in time for dinner. But the deeper they went, the more the forest closed in around him. The mist made it difficult to see more than a foot in any direction, and moss-covered rocks seemed determined to twist his ankle. More than once he'd been forced to steady himself on the rough bark of a tree, and his hands now felt small trails of blood on everything he touched. Additionally, Weiss was proving to be a spectacularly poor traveling companion, unhindered by either terrain or physical effort. He spent most of his time urging Jessica Cox to pick up the pace and grumbling about their slow progress. Finally, after Weiss muttered something about legless turtles being more adept at navigating the environment, Jessica Cox snapped. Okay, Weiss, cram it for a second, would ya? You don't have to walk. Jessica Cox leaned against a tree and tried to stretch the knots from his back. How can this stupid forest be so big, he muttered to himself. The moment the words tumbled from his mouth, a cacophony of insects sprang to life. Every imaginable form of buzz, click, and hiss roared at a volume that rattled his teeth. Jessica Cox slapped his hands over his ears and screamed to be heard. Weiss, what's going on? Jessica Cox could see Weiss's mouth moving, but he might as well not have been shouting in a tornado. The insects screamed, the forest howled. And then, just as Jessica Cox's ears seemed to ready to tear from his head and go running for cover, sound diminished. Hesitantly, he removed the hand from his left ear and listened to the creatures of the woods. Scree! Scree! Scree!
Shak! I'm a spider. I'm a fantasy spider lady. Shak! All the fantasy spider ladies sound like this. Shak! That's how we all sound.
Tick, tick, I'm a chicken! Chick, 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 I'm a chicken! Chick, chick, chick! Woo, 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 moo! Woo, 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 moo! Shik, shik, seek! Shik, 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 seek! As the insect symphony diminished another decibel, Jessica Cox began to detect patterns in the sound. This isn't random, he thought. It's not just white noise, it's something else. The insects weren't just calling out, they were asking a question. One with it is lacking. 2 with it is ideal. 3 with it is dangerous. What is it? What? What? By my pages, is this a riddle? I guess so. I mean, it sort of feels forced, but maybe it's the key to getting out of this place. Then I leave it to you to answer. 1 with it is lacking, 2 with it is ideal, 3 with it is dangerous. What is it? Do I have to choose? Oh my god. One with it is lacking, 2 with it is ideal, 3 with it is danger. A secret is, like, 1 with it is fine, right? 2 with it is not ideal. The seesaw is what I would say, right? 3 is just dangerous. Here's the thing, a secret should be kept to 1 person. 2 is not ideal. 2 is not an ideal for a secret. That's not how it works. That's not how secrets work. Obviously, it's a seesaw. I'm expecting a failure, but if this works, something's to deal with 2 people, but dangerous with 3, obviously seesaw. Weiss's mouth flew open, but before he could say anything, the world suddenly shifted. Reen, reen, wah! Reen, reen, wah! Shik-shiki! Shik-shiki! When Jessica Cox came to, he was once again surrounded by the cries of the insects were creating words he had heard somewhere before. Alright. Is this a riddle? I guess so. Let's do this thing. I mean, if it's a secret, that's a dumb riddle. Because a secret shouldn't be shared. That's the whole point. It's a secret. Inwardly furious. Alright, it's a secret. Right? Sound of insects got me again. Oh, opening a new path. These forest balls making road for us. It would absolutely be a seesaw. A secret, if you don't share, it's not a secret, then you all are doing secrets wrong. I hate to break it to you, but a secret is something you just shouldn't share. That's why it's a secret. Pleased to pass in the test, Jessica Cox moved on with intensity. The path offered his body relief from the undergrowth, but gave even greater cheer to his mind. As long as they were on a path, their journey had purpose. Guess the forest has accepted us, huh? Said Jessica Cox after a bit. Weiss spun around to face his companion. Do not mistake the will of this forest for some happy pet you can suddenly befriend. We have no idea where this path leads. As Weiss finished speaking, the pair turned a corner and found themselves facing a clear forest spring. Smiling, Jesse Cox picked up a small rock and sent it skipping across the surface of the water. "Good heavens," said Weiss. His surprise was understandable. Each time the rock struck the surface of the water, a musical note rang out. When the rock finally stopped moving and sank to the bottom of the springs, the ripples it left behind came together to form words. "I enter through the window, but break no glass. When night falls, I vanish. What am I?" "Absurdly easy," barked Weiss. "Now answer it." Jesse Cox gritted his teeth, tried not to reach out and strangle his companion. He's right, after all. This one was pretty easy. Sunlight. A plume of water suddenly burst from the spring. Sunlight filtered through the trees and reflected off the plume, creating a shimmering rainbow that spanned the entire horizon. "In all my years," said Weiss softly, "I've never seen such a sight." Perhaps I have maybe that's me. Perhaps I misunderstood the intention of this place. "Hey, look!" cried Jesse Cox, awaking Weiss from his daze. "There's a house or something over there." Glancing in the direction of his friend extended his hand, Weiss saw a small cottage nestled among the trees. "This is weird, isn't it, Weiss? I mean, who would build a house all the way out here?" Jesse Cox walked over and pounded on the door. After a minute of solid banging, the door cracked open and a small man peered out. His body was cloaked from neck to toe in a large black cape, while his face was obscured by mist. Began Jesse Cox. Before he could get any further, the cloaked man held a hand up and began speaking. "I have 4 legs in the morning, 2 at night, and 3 in the evening. What am I?" Jesse Cox was like, "I've read every riddle book, so I fucking know this. It's not even hard." "If we wish to engage in a conversation, we must answer the riddle." "Yeah, all right." "Man." The mist dissolved from around the cloaked figure and he spoke a single word. "Correct." With that, the man flung his garment aside, revealing his true identity. "You're the mayor!" cried Jesse. The small man shook his head slowly. "I am not the mayor you know. Now listen to my words. Long ago, I saw the version of you that was not yourself." "What the shit?" Sorry, what's that mean?" "It will make sense in time. At present, I simply congratulate you on cracking the seal of the death dream. Now you must go to the person at the forest entrance." With that, the man turned on his heel and slammed the door behind him. As Jesse Cox watched, mist seeped up from the ground and enveloped the cottage, erasing it from existence. When Jesse Cox and Weiss returned to the forest entrance, they found the mayor leaning against the tree. As soon as he caught sight of the duo, he sprang to his feet and scrambled over to them. "Good gravy! You made it! You actually made it back!" His left hand grasped Jesse Cox's and pumped it so fiercely it threatened to dislodge from its socket, while his right seized Weiss by the cover and swung him through the air. By the heavens, stop shaking me, fool. We have not even told you you're successful or not." The mayor smiled broadly and shook his head. "I'm just happy you're alive. I didn't think I'd ever see you again." Jesse Cox withdrew himself from the mayor's eager handshake with a slight smile. "We broke the death dream seal," he said. "At least I think we did." The mayor's face beamed, Jesse Cox, and it was all great. When the tale was done, the 3 of them laid down on the forest ground and fell asleep. Jesse Cox cocked his head. Jesse Cox cocked his head? Yeah, he did. Okay, hang on a second. This is crazy. Why don't we just lay down and go to sleep? "Cease your endless prattle and go to sleep, fool. Fight against this place's fertility itself." Jesse Cox the mayor obediently reclined atop the grassy earth. "Have you forgotten?" continued Weiss. "It is words that control the death dream, words that allow us to move from place to place. No matter how natural they seem, the words are absolute. Therefore, if the words tell us to sleep, then sleep we shall. And once we do, the story will continue." And with that, they all passed out. "This is the first time," began the mayor, "the first time I've felt tired since I was imprisoned here." His words were cut off by a loud, long yawn, and he remembered nothing more. They might have slept for an hour or a year. When they awoke, things had a slightly more real quality to them. The mist felt thicker, the leaves greener. It was clear they had awakened from their dream. Jesse Cox shook the mayor's shoulder gently. Good news, he said. I think we made it. Oh, wow, said the mayor in an awed voice. We did it. I'm back. He blinked once and then again, as if not quite believing the sight before him. You two have no idea how much this means to me. The death dream was spreading through our village, and I wanted to, well, I thought I could figure out how to stop it, but I guess that wasn't the case. I must have caught this disease and become trapped in my own dream. The mayor started to stand, then collapsed back to the earth. He stared at his legs as if trying to remember how they worked, then glanced at Jesse Cox and shrugged. Without a word, the young man reached down and pulled the mayor to his feet. Real life may take some getting used to, said the mayor. As a wry smile crossed his lips. You should relearn in short order. Oh wait, this is Weiss. You should relearn in short order, I'm sure, said Weiss. For now, you should return to your home and rest. No, said the mayor, swaying his unsteady feet. No, I can't. Some of the villagers are still trapped in the death dream. I have to save them. The mayor slowly made his way to the vine tree in the center of the village, then bowed his head and prayed silently. This is the holy tree, he explained. When the prayer was finished, it's the guardian of our village's history and memories. Superstition will only make our mission harder. Oh, damn it, Weiss. Superstition will only make our mission harder, muttered Weiss. We should not put our faith in their gods. The mayor shook his head. Not the gods, the words. Legend says that our tree is home to a powerful magic known as a sealed verse. Jesse Cox and Weiss could not contain their surprise. It seemed a goal had been found in the most unexpected of places. I say, muttered Weiss, this is certainly a stroke of luck. As the three of them said their goodbyes, Jesse Cox mentioned the strange man who had given them the third riddle and the mysterious words he left with them. I once saw a version of you that was not yourself, muttered the mayor. What in the world does that mean? Lost in thought, he stared into space for a long moment. You know, he said softly, this is going to sound odd, but I had a feeling I'd seen you before, too. Jesse Cox tried to keep a straight face and failed, but the mayor didn't seem to notice. Deja vu, right? Anyway, I figure it's just some kind of illusion created by the death dream. It probably doesn't mean anything. Jesse Cox gave the mayor a nod and a smile, and inwardly his thoughts were racing. There's something wrong about the mayor and his words. And what exactly is going on here? The riddle would prove to be the most difficult one.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Let me never read again.
Now I can finally return to a normal life.
This is one of the most bizarre diseases I have ever encountered.
I know. That's why we have to help the other villagers, no matter what.
Oh shit. Dark execution magic. Summon magical spikes from the ground to impale enemies? Okay.
For a sealed verse, that didn't take much effort.
Yes, all a touch too easy if you ask me. It's almost as if someone was guiding us to this village.
Don't overthink it, Weiss.
I mean, we might as well... First off, we're gonna go save. I'm no dummy. Knock, knock. Hello. Ah, forest berries. Hello. Ooh. Alright, so there's two other villagers here? Is that it? This village only got 2 people in it? Ooh! Alright. I want to go that way. Alright, so there's only 2 other things to do here, so I might as well do them.
This person must be dreaming too.
It would appear that way, yes.
Can't say I'm very excited to go back there. That dream world sort of creeps me out.
Perhaps you should spend less time complaining and more time getting on with the mission.
Yeah.
I breathe air scented with death and resist the urge to laugh. For I know it will sound like the words of a madman, How long have I been in this fresh hell? My box, my prison, is tucked beneath a stairway in the long, unused catacombs of some infinite castle. Outside I hear the sounds of a funeral dirge that plays without end. Light has no place here. Wind is a forgotten friend. I pray for death to come, but he forsakes me. Time passes, and eternity slips by in a single tick of a clock. Someone knocks on my prison. "Anyone there?" I hear an unfamiliar voice say. My savior. I claw at the door of my jail, embedding thick splinters under my ragged nails. I scream for help, I laugh, I sob. Surely this is a product of my addled mind. Surely it cannot be true. Help me, I cry, for the love of all the gods, help me. And possibly, I hear the sound of a lock being torn out and falling to the floor. As the door slowly creaks open, I have just enough time to see a silver-haired boy in a floating book before the light pours inside. My eyes, accustomed to blackness, explode in pain, and I'm forced to turn away. "Who are you?" I ask, shaking my hands, covering my face. "How have you come to this place?" "I am Grimoire Weiss, and this is Jesse Cox. Long have we been searching for you. Now come, stand. We shall awaken from this nightmare together." The one known as Jesse Cox extends his hand and pulls me from the cell. Though my eyes are slow to adjust to freedom, my ears are keen as ever, and they recognize the staccato sounds of heavy rain. "I thought I'd never hear that again," I whisper. "Would that this were not such a terrible storm. Look at your feet." I force my eyes open and see water pooling around my ankles and lapping at my shins. "There's so much of it." "Yes, and more comes each moment we delay. If we do not make our escape, we shall all drown in this castle. We know you are weak, but you are our only hope to survive this place." Time, that long forgotten friend, made itself known again. I nodded my head and swore to save my rescuers, no matter the cost. The castle catacombs are a maze, twisting upon themselves like the endless entrails of a giant. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed north. What? Oh, are we doing this? At the end of the corridor, I find a row of 20 gorgeous canopied beds resting atop a carpet of velvet, all covered in a thick layer of dust and cobwebs. Searching for the door in the next room, I come upon a shapeless mass of gray matter. It has been shoved against the side of the wall, and despite my fever, I think I see outlines of the door just beyond. When I reach out a finger and touch the piece of the mass, it turns to dust and drifts away in the wind. Realization slowly dawns, and I fall to my knees and weep. Corpses. I face a mountain of charred and crumbling corpses. I look from it to the beds and back again until the horror finally dawns upon me. Someone has piled these bodies into a tower and set them ablaze. Whether they were alive or dead, I do not know. My sanity will not permit me to consider the proposition further. I make a sound, whether scream or laughter, I cannot be certain. Then my mind grants me a merciful blackness, and I find myself opening the door and leaving the most terrible of rooms. I squint down the dim corridors. You sons of bitches. East. North. North. At the end of the path, the waters rise to my waist, exhausting me both. I pray this is the way out. Eventually, I can stand the sight of water no longer and turn my eyes upward. Imagine my surprise when I see a series of paintings hanging in the faded plaster wall. Each depicts a person in the prime of life, clad in clothing of highest quality. The styles, however, are strange to me, leading me to believe that these people had lived long, long ago. One subject wears an outfit that particularly catches my eye. It's constructed of thin, breezy cloth and decorated with a motif of flowers and birds, while encircling the figure's waist is a leather belt of most perfect construction. It is a stunning costume, even by modern standards. As I gaze at the portrait, I'm struck by my desire to touch it with my own hands. Yet, as I extend a single finger to the painting, I'm gripped by the most unpleasant feeling. Staring closely at the image, I see it bend and warp into the shape of another finger. Something behind the picture is pointing at me? Is it another prisoner? A fellow inmate trapped for eternity in this place? I cannot let it pass, so I seize the portrait with both hands and throw it into the water. The wall is hollow behind the painting, and inside I can make out a body. Whether or not it is a prisoner, there would be no rescue. The poor soul is long dead. Scraps of clothing lie on the floor around the bones. Only a small amount of fabric has survived, but it features the same delicate designs that were depicted in the portrait. I've been admiring row of corpses blocked from view by portraits of each victim at their pinnacle. Enough shielding my eyes, I paddle forward in the water. Alright, I guess we're going south. So north didn't cut it, so let's go west. At the end of the path, a row of heavy wooden caskets lie on their sides of the dark chamber. Doubtless they are filled with wine. My throat roars to life. I cannot remember the last time my parched throat had relief. I scramble to crack the first cask and pull frantically at the cork. Left a few cups means nothing. I tell myself the cask will be ruined by the flood regardless. Finally, the cork surrenders to my attack. Thick red liquid bursts from the hole. This is no wine. It is blood still warm from the body. Whether animal or something else, I cannot say. Foul liquid soon mixes with the rising flood waters, creating a warmth that laps against my thighs. By the gods, are the rest of the cask filled with blood as well? I lack the courage to conform my suspicion. Disgust quickly becomes fear as I turn to flee, but my weakened legs betray me, sending me toppling over into the red ocean below. The smell of death is everywhere. It threatens to consume me. I must escape this hell. Crawling on all fours like an animal, holding back screams lest the foulness enter my mouth, I lurch forward through the red waters and out of the room to freedom. Okay. So it wasn't north, or it's not going to be south because we just came from there, so let's go east. At the end of the path, I found myself in a great hall with only the sound of the rain for comfort. The waterlogged red carpet squishes beneath my feet as I approach the center of the room. Once there, I behold a beautiful dining table upon which rest china and silver of the finest construction, as well as the remains of a fantastic feast. As my eyes continue to adjust, I see many chairs surrounding the table, each holding a dinner guest. Noticing movement, I approach the chair at the table's head, but the truth of the matter dawns on me. I recoil in horror. The host of the feast is a corpse, as are all the invited guests. An army of foul, wriggling insects have made homes in their remains, and this is the moment I saw. The one splendid feast is nothing but a requiem for the damned. I take a moment to steady my shaking hands, and slowly back away from the table. Desperate to lose sight of the abomination before me, my gaze lands on the chairs upon which the dead were seated. This is a mistake, for the chairs proved to be even more terrible than the feast itself. Each is covered with a layer of spikes that runs from the seat, up the back, down the arms. This explains the color of the carpet beneath the feet. I can only pray that the unfortunate diners were dead when the meal began. For if not, it is a simple task to envision the agonizing screams that must have sprung forth from their mouths. My mind grasps frantically at the possibility that these souls could have committed some terrible crime for which this was their punishment. Though in truth, I suspect they committed no crime at all. There will be no tomorrow for these unfortunates. This was their last supper. I came from the... So let's go north. The water's risen my chin. Oh, come on. Now laps greedily at my mouth and nose. You dumb shouts Jesse Cox. He surely desires to say more, but the rest of his insult is cut by the rising water. Grimoire Weiss, wet and tattered, floats on the water's surface. It's already too late for him. This wasn't how it was supposed to end. Whoa! I didn't even know you could die in that. Whoa! Whoa! Good thing I saved. I had no idea you could die there.
It would have...
Can't say I'm very...
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Alright, well, at least we can blow through this. Okay, proceed north. So here's the thing. we went... South will take us back to where we started, so we have to go east, right? We have to. And I went north. What happens if I... no. If I go west, I go back to where we just came from, so it has to be north. And then we have to go east. North. It has to be north. We make it to the front door. Oh, I was there. I just ran out of time? Really? Boo! Boo earns! Boo! Break it down, someone cries. And so I give myself to the effort. In tandem with Jesse Cox and Grimoire Weiss, I slam my body against the thick, sturdy door. On the third try it gives way. We find ourselves sprawled on the ground outside the castle. The storm is in retreat. The clouds above are still dark and foreboding. But to the west, I can see a thin shimmer of sunlight trying to break through. How can I thank you? I cries tears of joy. Join the rain on my cheeks. I would surely have died in there. Looking down, I suddenly notice that my dress is in tatters. I sheepishly try to cover my exposed skin. Your dress? Your dress? Asked Weiss. Then you're a woman, madam? I am. I proffer the two a smile. I suppose that comes as something of a surprise, seeing as how I exist only in the form of words. I can see that one known as Jesse Cox is disappointed that the torn dress will be given no further description, but hides it well. How dare you judge me, game? How dare you? With a nod and a shrug, the three set forth to our awakening. But behind us, an awakening of another kind is taking place. Black smoke fills the abandoned castle, providing the countless damned souls inside with their final shroud. After a moment, the castle's windows shatter with a mighty roar. A fresh breeze blows through the hallways and corridors, clearing the smoke away for good. As we watch in awe, uncountable black shadows flicker to life, crossing to and fro in front of the broken windows. The castle's dead have awakened to their new life as shades. Interesting.
You have anything to say about that?
Hopefully there will be no labyrinth next time.
I hear that.
Interesting. So yeah, the dead are becoming shades, which, you know, I think it's definitely safe to say now that that guy's girlfriend is a shade, right? Or is dead. She's both. All right, let's do this.
Another victim. This work certainly is trying.
I figured a book like you would be into all this word stuff, Weiss.
Even I have my exceptions. Now let's be off.
A colony of massive sculptures is visible in the distance, their tall forms scraping against the sky. Weiss and Jesse Cox have never seen such a sight. Their eyes widen as they try to take it in.
Those buildings must be huge if we can see them from this far away. What do you think, Weiss?
As Weiss considered his answer, the sun beat down on them with renewed ferocity.
Perhaps they are some manner of mirage.
He said. Under this heat, a mirage or two could hardly be unexpected. Jesse Cox nodded and wiped the sweat off his brow, leaving a trail of sand in its place. He thought he'd never been so thirsty. The ancient road which they walked was black and cracked with age. Here and there, thin wisps of grass pushed up through the rocky surface, as if defying those who had laid this material down over their home. The heat reflecting from the road made Jesse Cox lightheaded. His feet hurting, he crouched down to rest. I don't know how much longer I can do this. Is someone playing a joke on us or what? The complaining had already begun. Weiss tried not to let his eyes roll too much. A joke, he said. No joke. This road leads to the city of art. Perhaps the path itself is simply some manner of grand artistic work. You don't sound very sure of yourself there. Perhaps not. But thinking of it in this way might make it easier for you to bear. Jesse Cox glanced at Weiss's grinning face, shook his head, and resumed walking. As time passed, Jesse Cox's feet grew more painful and his throat drier than he had thought possible. He tried not to look further than the next step ahead because the bright sunlight made him hesitant to trust his own senses. "Oh, we are definitely getting closer," said Weiss in an effort to cheer his companion. "Yes, this much is certain." Encouraged, Jesse Cox lifted his gaze. Suddenly, he stopped walking, choosing instead to stand in the middle of the road with his mouth and eyes wide open and his finger pointing in the distance. "Water!" he cried. "It's water!" "Water?" asked Weiss. "Preposterous. I don't see water." "Over there, just ahead of us. Look, the sun's reflecting off of it." Without waiting for a response, Jesse Cox sprang to life and bound toward the sight. What in the... There was no water. There was nothing but sand in every direction. Jesse Cox closed his eyes and sighed as Weiss floated up behind him and chuckled softly. "I believe this is known as a mirage," he said. "Many a desert traveler have spoken of such things." Jesse Cox shook his head, bewildered. Suddenly, he pointed off in distance, his eyes wide once more. "Wait, there it is! I just missed it! Look, it's right there!" Jesse Cox sprinted off again, leaving Weiss with no choice but to follow. After a few minutes of running, Jesse Cox came to a halt. I could have sworn it was right here. Confused, he put his hands up to his eyes and rubbed them vigorously. As soon as he stopped, he noticed a blue shimmering pool of clear water just over the next rise. With a shout, he bounded off in search of it. The chase continued for nearly an hour until an exasperated Weiss finally floated up to Jesse Cox and struck him in the face with his cover. "Enough, you blithering idiot. Stop this at once. There is no water here." Jesse Cox's face clouded. "There isn't?" "There is not. And perhaps next time you will listen to me when I tell you as much." Weiss paused for a moment, then continued speaking in a slightly kinder tone. "However, I suppose this mad chase was not altogether wasted. Seems we have arrived at the City of Art." Jesse Cox looked up. Stretched out before him was a row of impossibly tall sculptures. Their journey was at an end. "They're huge!" cried Jesse Cox, completely forgetting the heat and pain of the last few hours. "I've never seen anything so big." Each sculpture was formed from roughly the same shape, a tall rectangle that stretched up toward the sky, but that is where the similarities ended. Most were covered with panels of glass that reflected light in 1,000 directions, while others seemed to be nothing but frames of steel. Some had tall spires at the tops, while others possessed triangular caps. "What kind of city is this?" said Jesse Cox. "Where are the people? Where are the houses?" "Perhaps the land is intended exclusively for artistic use." The debate continued as they made their way through the city. Miracles of artistry were everywhere. Great iron crates with wheels sat silent on steel rails. Beautifully carved works with lights of red, amber, and green dangled over every street. As they moved from the massive sculptures, they found a great array of smaller ones. Some were covered in glass or brick, but many were composed of materials that they had never before encountered. The sheer variety of colors and styles was staggering. Unable to find a theme or purpose to the abstract works around them, Jesse Cox and Weiss eventually fell silent. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shape of humans. Jesse Cox uttered a sigh of relief as he approached them. Finally! I was getting tired of modern art. The 3 statues were indistinguishable except for a single word chiseled into their right arms. One read Alpha, one read Beta, and the final one read Gamma. As Jesse Cox moved to touch the nearest statue, a bird flew from the top of one of the sculptures, lighting on the statue's shoulder, and emitted a brief, beautiful song that took the form of words. "Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies." With that, the bird departed. As if on cue, the 3 statues shuddered to life, acquiring color and form as they began to breathe. "Hey, look at that," said Jesse Cox. "They're alive." The triplets bowed low before Jesse Cox. "Please," said Alpha, "you have to get me out of this nightmare. I am real." And Alpha would never say that. "Please, I've been on the internet. I know how this whole thing works." "Stop lying," said Beta. He turned to Jesse Cox and threw his hands in the air. "Alpha's a fake. You know, I'm the real one." Whoa, whoa, whoa. According to the internet, the Beta wouldn't say that. "What a load of crap," said Gamma. "Beta is a fake. Everyone knows I'm the only real one here. I'm not sure what a Gamma is." Internet people, what is it? Is a gamma like... What is that? Is it like a furry? Because I would believe that. I would believe a furry over an alpha and a beta. Is what I'm saying. The respective pleas given the 3 statues returned to their frozen state as silence once again enveloped the city. When you consider all the statements, only one of them could be the real thing. Jesse Cox furrowed his eyebrows and considered the answer. Only one form is real, the others are fake. The real form will always speak the truth, the false ones will only speak lies. Ay, ay, ay. I mean, for the goof, I have to go with Gamma, right? We have to do Gamma. I mean, I guess I'll reread it with the 4th option. I don't have a clue. Let's go through it. There's mine, Outskirts City. Yeah. Finally, tried to get him on an art. Alright. Hey, look at that. They're alive. Great. Alright. Please! You have to get me out of this nightmare. I'm real. Stop lying. Return Jesse Cox to Alpha's fake, you know? I'm the real one. What a load of crap. Beta's fake. Everyone knows I'm the only real one here. I don't know. I mean, do I trust the power of gamma rays? I think I should. Let's be real. The real one is Gamma. As the statue shone with an eerie light. The light grew stronger and stronger until Jesse and Weiss were forced to turn away.
It would seem we failed. Yeah. We'd best act more careful.
This is the worst job.
You tell me Gamma? No. You tell me.
I figured a book like
Gamma, I'm not. Look. Alright, let's zip through this. I mean, no, he's relieved to see Weiss nodding at him. If Alpha were telling the truth, began Weiss, and Beta and Gamma would be fakes. But in that case, Gamma's claim that Beta is a fake would be truth. Even though Gamma is a liar, therefore the theory crumbles. Now let us presume that Gamma spoke the truth. That makes Alpha and Beta liars. In this situation, however, Beta calling Alpha a liar, which would leave us with 2 statues telling the truth. Finally, let us assume Beta is telling the truth. If so, Alpha and Gamma's lies would make sense, therefore Beta must be real. Weiss finished the explanation. Alpha and Gamma crumbled silently into dust while Beta sprang to life once more. Congratulations, villager, said Weiss. Oh wait, villager, said Weiss in a cheerful voice. Time to awaken has arrived. Thank you for saving me, cried the villager. He dropped to his knees and bowed his head as low as it could go before an uncomfortable Jesse Cox pulled him to his feet. Why did you have a dream like this? Why did you have a dream like this, asked Weiss. Have you been to this city before? The villager slowly looked around at bizarre objects and sculptures that dotted the landscape and shook his head. I don't think so. I mean, it's possible, right? There's no way I could ever have been a place like this, but at the same time, I feel like I've seen it before. Deja vu, muttered Jesse Cox, just like the mayor. A vague sense of unease that struck Jesse Cox during the mayor's dream spread once more through his mind.
That was rough.
I am positive I have seen that place before.
Okay, that's enough.
Was the year
You getting all
2054?
weird on me too. Okay, there. Now all the villagers can wake up, right?
Yes, if the mayor's assumption was correct. I think I have had enough wordplay to last a lifetime.
You're telling me. Anyway, let's go see the mayor.
Because Weiss was in 2054. Like, I mean, he was that dude. He was there.
Oh, how wonderful. Here, I have something for you.
Is it a sword? Ooh, the one-handed sword, Faith.
Wow, this looks valuable. I can really have it?
Of course. It's apparently a weapon of some renown, but we have little use for it.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you again for everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious what he was describing was a modern city. And I think if you played Final Fantasy XIV, that last battlefield? Is that? The battle arena was literally what they were describing. Right? Ooh, the power of faith. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to use faith to murder. Just like my ancestors did. Well, that was a wild little
So how was the
trip.
village?
Uh-oh.
Oh, it was truly magnificent. There are no words. Really.
Neat.
Let's get back to Popola.
Cool.
She'll probably want to know what's going on in there.
Awesome. Hey, Popola. Shit's going down. What the hell? Cone. Ooh, I got a bunch of shit. I'm sorry, Boar. Yeah. One day I'm gonna figure out what the hell the blood is saying. As I have blood on my feet. Creepy as shit. While we're here. I got all the best words. I got all the best words. Faith. All the best words. Jesse, please, you can batch assign. Well, I don't know that I want to batch assign. I want to see what the things are. I forget I have 90% of the spells I have. What are they saying? Hey, do you like candy? You know, instead of firing your giant mega laser, just like attack them with a sword, lady. Come on, help me out. Well, I attacked the wrong damn one. Vara. You know, sometimes you gotta put in a little whistle. Sometimes you gotta put in a little whistle, you know what I'm saying? Alright, I think I can go see the mutton lady.